Good evening, gentlemen.
Evening 4D, good evening Viv, aka Army of Shadows.
Hey, good evening, Bronze. Good evening, 4D.
Yeah,
And hello, Craig. There's Craig. Oh, isn't he looking lovely today?
Yes, yeah.
Sorted out all quickly and done all properly. Look at that.
Oh, beautiful. That's beautiful. Or should I say beautiful?
So it's Thursday, the 27th of February, 2025. Storm in a Teacup, episode 3. And let's go.
Lovely. Yeah, and there's been so much going on, as there always is. I'm fresh off looking at Starmer meeting Trump, which was a very interesting little exchange, shall we say?
Yes, I've yet to catch up on that one, so you're ahead of me on that.
I started watching, but it was I couldn't watch it all. I'm going to go back. But what I did notice was Starmer's body language. His fingers are locked together, like in a cage. He's made a cage of his hands, his fingers all entwined, and his legs were crossed, and the right leg, or the left leg, is it? Depending on the angle on the camera, was pointing away from Trump.
Oh, there was so much about that body language, wasn't there? And there's a couple of times where Trump sort of, I suppose, because Trump's a big man, when he moves, there's quite a lot of movement. But a couple of times, Trump, all he does is slightly move his body, and you can tell from a beta point of view, Starmer is ready to shake his hand or stand up, and at one point you can't work out if he's going to kiss him or shake his hand, and it was very uncomfortable. There's a few moments where the body language gives away that he is very uncomfortable in the situation. And then there's a couple of questions. JD Vance pipes in at one point when they're talking about free speech, and I mean, Starmer, I don't know why he went out on a limb, but he interrupted and said, "Oh, well, we pride ourselves in our free speech. UK is known for our free speech." And JD sort of says, "No, that's not the case." It's and there was another moment. What was the other thing? But anyway, body language was very telling.
Yeah, it sounds from what you're saying that Starmer is kind of hanging on, any movement from Trump, and he's really sort of zoned in on it, and sort of in thrall to Trump, basically.
Yeah, I kind of call it full capitulation. He's definitely not dominating the conversation. In a boardroom, he'd be the little guy that didn't come away with the deal.
Yeah, well, that's who he is anyway. So,
and that's who he is. Yeah. It's the way. Does he not realise it? Does he not know that everyone sees it? Is he that stupid, or is he that up his own backside?
The latter.
Is that what it is?
And maybe the former. I mean, he's a management. He's a cross between a middle manager and a headmaster. Maybe not even a headmaster. So when he's called a deputy headmaster, when he's called before the board of directors of the school, he'll be a bit, a bit more, down at heel. But when he's got the children in front of him, and that's the way he sees the population of our countries, then he plays the full headmaster, finger wagging, admonishing, making up rules. Stop running in the corridor, boys.
When you put it like that, that's exactly who he is. Yeah,
I'm the son of a tool maker, and the tool maker made a very good tool, didn't he?
Yes. He's the thing is he's out of his depth. He probably realizes he's out of his depth, and he's trying to overcompensate for that in one way or another, and it shows in his body language.
Yes, it does. It does.
That was the other thing. Sorry for interrupting, Viv, but
no, you're good. You're good.
Starmer mentions that he's fully committed to supplying a peacekeeping force, and again, Trump sort of, without being rude or obnoxious, in a Trump way, sort of says, no, that's not the case at all. And he says, at the moment, we're talking about peace, and we don't even know what the peace means, let alone peacekeepers, Mr. Starmer. And, and then Starmer tries again and says, yes, but we'll be there, as if begging for England to be involved. And again, Trump's body language, he turns away from Starmer towards J.D. Vance and the rest that are with, and sort of says, well, we've got this man in the room, we're fully capable of talking about peace, and just really puts him in the background. It's great to see, unfortunately.
Yeah, this is just what they're doing in front of the cameras. Can you imagine what has gone on in the private conversation between them, in the private meeting? Wouldn't that be great to hear?
Yeah.
And what's with the letter from the king inviting him over, which is, Starmer made a big thing that it's unprecedented. It's never happened, Mr. Trump. You're the first person to be invited twice for this. It really made it that it's a big thing. What do you think's going on there?
Don't know. Will he get a state visit? Will
yes,
they roll out?
It's going to be the first person to have 2 state visits. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, after calling Trump, they didn't imagine Trump would get back in, and after calling him all kinds of names, David Lammy was particularly excoriating, called him racist and all kinds of names, the usual shouty playground names. They're going to have to row back, aren't they? They're going to have to eat their words. It's embarrassing.
Well,
embarrassing,
yes. Oh, embarrassing, yes, but it's also going to destroy them. They've already lost. They only got voted in by 30% anyway, but they're
20, man, 20.
I'm sorry, 20. But that 20% are fully behind him with his ideas. So to now turn around, to go, oh, Trump's brilliant, and we're inviting him for another visit, and all that. His last 20% are going to abandon him.
Well, I'd say that he lost a large portion of that way before this. It's probably way less than 20% now. So this whole thing about Trump as well, talking about 25% tariffs on the EU, that again is going to undermine Starmer, because Starmer's making all these moves to try and cozy back up to the EU, and the EU are now going to be suffering from these tariffs. So Starmer's going to look even more weak for going the wrong way. Effectively, he should be trying to cozy up to the US and Trump rather than the EU, because it's the US and Trump which are going from strength to strength and becoming the real force, not the EU.
No, it's what can I say?
It's embarrassing, Viv. That's what although we're all taking the mickey and we're all enjoying him looking like an idiot, this is our country, and all three of us love this country and feel very strongly about this country. Hence we talk about these things. But I don't know. I think obviously we're better off staying with America than with the EU. I wanted out of EU, and I don't want anything to do with them anyway. But I think anyone would say we're better off with America. But yeah, we're in a very precarious place at the moment, us, this little island over here.
In truth, I don't know, is it truth? But in my opinion, we have an extremist minority government with rapidly diminishing support. That is making a fool of itself on the international stage, which is further impoverishing the people of our countries, and clamping down on free speech. Vance is right. We used to prize free speech. Some of us still do. I know us three do. But free speech has been under serious attack in this country for many years. Just look at things like online safety bill. There's just so much. There's so very much. The education, the employer bill, that one so-called banter bill, where people say you're in a pub and you're saying something a bit risque that's against, the current orthodoxy, And the person responsible is not the speaker drinking a pint, but it's going to be the landlord for allowing this to happen. And this applies to every workplace. I think over a certain number. I'm not even sure about that. It could be everywhere. I haven't looked closely into the bill yet.
Yeah,
So,
that online. Sorry, Bill, go on.
no, I'm just saying, and that's just two. It's just two examples.
Yeah, mentioning the online safety bill brings us to this point about, you probably heard this story about Apple and the UK government wanting to gain access to their, what was it, the encryption. They had this encryption system for their iCloud, and the UK government wanted access to it so they could access all Apple users' personal data, and Apple withdrew the service in the UK because of it.
Yeah.
And you two guys are Apple users. I'm not, but it did make me think. I'm sure this, if you use Android as opposed to Apple, Android are Google, so I'm sure they're already doing that with Google, because Google are just as worse, just as bad, if not worse than Apple. So I'm sure it's not just Apple; it's across the board. The government are trying to do this, or already doing it.
Yeah.
I did mention to you guys previously about when it must have been about a month or so ago, I went onto YouTube because I use a VPN, and I went onto YouTube, and all of a sudden it was stopping me from watching any videos unless I signed in. It said, we need you to sign in to make sure you're not a bot. And this just suddenly happened. And I thought, what's going on here? And I switched my VPN to servers outside of the UK, and there was no restrictions on YouTube. I could just go to YouTube and watch a video. I didn't have to sign in or make an account. And once again, I think this goes back to the online safety bill. They want to get everybody's data. They want people to. If I'm using a VPN, they obviously don't like that. So they think, well, we don't know who this person is. We want their data. So you can either watch YouTube videos without a VPN, so we know who you are. We've got your IP address and all your info, or you have to sign in with your account, and we'll get your info that way. And it just seems to be the UK and other countries. It was fine. That's very insidious and very annoying
and sinister.
Yeah, sinister. Yeah.
So yeah.
I meant to ask. Now you're talking about YouTube. Very very briefly. How do I have to sign in to comment on 4D's channel?
Yes, you do. You can't comment without signing in.
And what does that entail exactly?
It entails giving them all of your personal details, your inside leg measurement, dental records, your blood type.
Yeah. I see.
Signing your life away, effectively.
Yeah. Do I have to sign anything in blood, or is it just basically?
Possibly.
Okay.
Yeah. Once again, it's Google. YouTube is Google. That tells me to can't do anything without Google wanting to know every single aspect of your intimate details.
Yeah. We are the product now, so I accept that. Well, I don't accept it, but I understand that.
I think it's only your phone number. I know it's still an invasion of privacy, but I think it's just the phone number. And see, it's been a long time since I've set up a blooming account, but I think it's just an email address and a phone number, I think.
Yeah, you need a Google account to start with. It starts with a Google account.
Oh, I see. And that's where all the info comes from.
And they definitely need your phone number for that. And I absolutely point blank refuse to give them my phone number, because we all know how easy it is to track mobile phones these days.
Yeah,
I don't mind giving my phone number because I never use it. I'm going to get another one soon anyway, and I'll keep the other one secret.
Oh, okay.
So
that's an option.
That's all right. So Google account, I think I might actually have one of those. To be honest, fellas, I've lost track of all the blooming things I've signed up for. It's mental. I probably need a password manager or something like that, you know?
That's my problem. Do you know what? That's my problem. And back in the day when I was still fast asleep and signing up to all sorts of stuff, is there such a thing as can you pay a company to erase your everything you've opened and had on the internet so you can start afresh? Because even to the point, I get things and I think I have no idea what the password is for these things because I set them up 10 years ago or 20 years ago when I was half cut in a pub one night and I have no idea what the password was.
I don't know if there's a company that can do that, but I doubt it. Because that's all about privacy and data protection and this, that, and the other. So
I was thinking back to when I first came back to England, and when I first came back, I signed up to the Tesco Club Card, I think it was, and I was thinking back and the amount of info I gave them just to have a Tesco Club Card, and I never ended up using it. So, but it's things like that. I think I wish I hadn't signed up to these things.
Yeah, I know, and I think once on the internet, always on the internet. It's always there. Whatever. I don't know. I mean, I dare say there are companies. I dare say you'll find a company that can attempt to erase your personal information in the name of privacy, but can they actually do it? I don't know.
Well, no, I don't think. I think everything that goes on the internet is trackable and traceable one way or the other. And even if there is a company, would you trust them? You'd have to be able to trust them as well. It's like adding another layer of unknown mystery companies, isn't it?
God, it's like living in a 1970s American paranoid thriller from the movies, like Gene Hackman used to star in. Rest in peace, Gene.
Yeah, Gene Hackman. I think.
I've just put up a tribute to him on my Substack. The Conversation. Whoa. And Young Frankenstein. Can anyone realise that he is in Young Frankenstein?
Is he? What does he play?
He plays the blind man.
It's been so long since I've seen that. I can't really remember, but I'll have to maybe revisit
that. Well, have a look at the stack. I put a clip, the blind man clip, on it as a tribute to Gene.
Oh yes, you do reference your Substack quite often, Viv. So I think maybe 4D when you put up these conversations on YouTube, put a link in the video description to Viv's Substack as well.
Yeah.
I'd be easy, Bronze. Yeah, cheers for putting that in the thing that's going to go on to YouTube. Yeah, I'll do that, mate. Yeah.
You can cut it out. Or you can cut it out. You can edit that.
No. It's cool. It's cool. Honestly, I was when I was editing the last one, I was thinking. Viv was saying some various things, and I thought it'd be great if I could, because all I have is that picture of a teacup. Because I've got a lot to learn about this stuff, but I thought even I must be able to put some writing up. So it was, for instance, I think it was another book that Viv was talking about, and I thought it'd be great if I could actually type something could come up on screen saying Viv's talking about this book, sort of thing.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
But again, it'd be a slow thing for me, guys. So you have to bear with me.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Suddenly an image comes up. Yeah, that is really good idea, actually. Yeah. Or events we talk about, and then as you edit in the editing process afterward, you can just insert a little whatever it is, a pop-up type thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
All food for thought for the future.
Anyway,
actually, as we brought that up as a conversation, did I post to you guys about the flaxseed?
No.
I'd watched. I'm terrible with names. The doctor, the UK nurse that did a lot about talking about COVID and how bad the vaccine and how bad it was. What was his name?
Kate Sheramani.
No.
Was it a guy?
Yeah, the guy that at first was fully behind the vaccine and then very quickly changed his mind, and now
Malhotra.
No, David
Cartland.
Right, sorry, people. I cannot remember the name. I'll think about it in a minute. He did one on flaxseed and the benefits of eating flaxseed, and it was a really interesting conversation he was having with an Australian doctor, and it was another one of these natural products that we used to eat a lot, that we don't eat anymore, and the healing properties from flax seeds ranged. The main thing they were talking about was lowering your blood pressure, and that it was helping all sorts of conditions around blood pressure, but also it went on to things like me with my arthritis. Now, flaxseed, you make oil, linseed oil out of it. And ironically, it seems to be very good for your joints. And because I have the arthritic condition, I thought, right, I'm going to start eating linseed, flax seeds. But have you guys, are you guys aware of flaxseed?
Yes, but not as such as flaxseed. But linseed oil for eye problems, you just rub it direct into your eyes. You put it directly into your eyes, the linseed.
Oh, is that the stuff that your friend was talking about at the park?
Yes, that Carl was talking about. Yeah, or was it Carl? I think so. Yeah.
Well, I never. Yeah.
What sort of eye problems are you thinking about there, Viv?
Well, one of the people at Stand in the Park has got these just kind of really sore, raw eyes. And saying that, yes, it also supposed to improve sight, but I don't know about that. But certainly to relieve uncomfortable eyes, and rather than squirting chemicals, bit of linseed.
John Campbell, just quickly get his name in.
Oh yes, John Campbell. Yeah, I know what you mean. I know the geezer. Well, I don't know him, but I know he of whom you speak.
He started a new thing, which I thought I might steal from him in a way for us, because he'd said to this Australian guy, what they're gonna do each week is one of them will come up with a subject that the other one doesn't know what the subject's going to be, and that they'll talk about that subject, whether the other person knows about it or not. And I thought that would be great for the three of us. Each week we could have one subject each, and whether the two of us know anything about it is irrelevant. We'll just have a conversation about it, because again, that's all we're doing, is having conversations about stuff.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
And then we will be like the blind leading the blind. Then
Blind reading the blind. I said to you, I got that book. I think you'd recommended this book ages ago, Viv.
Yeah.
What really makes you ill?
Yeah.
And whatever the conversation we were having, I thought I really want to get that book. And I finally ordered it. Finally arrived the other day, and I thought, I'm a dyslexic, and this book is fucking huge. But yeah, cheers. I'm gonna read through that. It's another really interesting subject. The whole. What is it that makes us ill? What are diseases? Do diseases even exist? And all this, that, and the other. I'll enjoy reading that when I get round to it.
Yeah, it's a really interesting book, and the only thing that lets it down is it doesn't have a searchable index at the back saying, if you want to look up, I don't know, microwave ovens, you have to go through the chapter list at the front. It'll be in there somewhere, the subject, but the lack of an index to me. But I'm a bit sort of arsey about all that. I like a nice index. Oh yes, I love an index.
Especially if it's a kind of
an index. This one has one at the back. Sorry.
Oh, does it? Hang on. Let me look at my.
Maybe it's a later edition.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, true. Maybe.
Yeah, it sounds like it's, from the description, it sounds like it is more of a reference type book rather than a read through book. So an index really useful for those types of books where you just want to look up something in particular rather than just read it from front to back.
I think what I tend to do with that book is I just dip in and out of it. I'm not going to read it cover to cover, although you could do.
I see. Right. Thanks. Yeah, gotcha.
Oh, there is well, it does have what it's got. It's got references. It doesn't have a searchable index, though, in such, like, as I say, microwave ovens, page 240 or whatever. You have to go to the front.
Again, these newfangled book things are new to me, so I don't know what's normally at the back of them.
I know. But the front will give you a rough idea of what you're searching for.
Yeah, no. It's I'm glad I've got it.
Yeah, it's really good. I mean, some of it's a bit dubious. You think, really? But other stuff like artificial sweeteners, sugar. There's loads. Manufactured poisons, chemicals.
Artificial sugars. That's a conversation I'd love us to have, because one of my friend has constantly drinks these diet fizzy drinks, and the stuff I've learned about it is it aspartame. It's really bad news stuff.
Yeah, aspartame and sorbitol, and I think aspartame is banned in the US. I believe. I could be wrong.
I thought it was.
Bloody hell! Apparently, stevia is not so bad, but don't quote me on that. I mean, if I'm going to have sugar, I need sugar in coffee because I drink espresso coffee. But I do need sugar in that. But I'm not too gone on sugar, really. I'm okay.
Yeah, I mean, sweeteners, sugar replacements effectively are never quite, never quite taste the same as sugar in drinks and what have you. Anyway, I tend to use honey if I can to sweeten my. If I have a coffee at home, at least I'll just put some honey in it. Tea I don't drink. Yeah. Tea I don't drink with sugar.
Good idea. I don't drink tea with sugar, but I could use honey. Yeah, that's the point. At the moment, I'm using this Indian raw sugar called jaggery, which is sort of unrefined sugar, like a lot of Indian products. And yeah, it's pretty good. It tastes a bit like the dark brown sugar we use in this country for things like butterscotch sauce, sticky toffee pudding, that kind of rich
raw cane sugar.
Yeah, it's dark brown. I think it's called dark brown sugar. It's very soft, crumbly. It's really nice.
That's what I use.
You use that's lovely stuff.
It was also finding out how they made sugar white and the whole bleaching process, and I thought, wow, I'm not going to have that stuff anymore.
No way.
And isn't it funny how, especially with sugar, but I'm sure it relates to other products as well, you get the natural unrefined stuff, which requires less processing, and it's more expensive than the highly processed stuff.
Interesting.
You need less of it to make it sweet. Like I'll have half a teaspoon of brown sugar in my coffee, because I don't think I could have coffee without sugar, actually.
No, I can't.
If I have white cane sugar at someone else's house, I have to have 1 or 2 sugars to get the same sort of kick out of it, I think.
Really, really interesting, that point. I've noticed that. I was thinking that the other day. I was thinking, how come I use a teaspoon of Indian jaggery in my morning coffee, and then I have to put 2 or sometimes 3 teaspoons of white sugar at work? I just have to bring brown sugar to work, of course. I know that, but yeah, good point.
But the aspartame, or there's a darker side to diet stuff. This anything that's sugar free or diet or slim fast was the big. I think that was the one I'd looked into, and they actually put stuff in it that makes you hungry. So, because again, like the doctors, they're not going to come up with a program that makes you thin very quickly and gets you healthy, because there's no money in that. They want you there years and years. And if you look into sort of those kind of clubs, the people that go, bless them, go for years and years and years. There's not really they don't realize that there's not really a change in it. But anyway, the darker side is they add stuff that makes you get hungry. So even that is going to make you put on weight.
Yes, yeah, of course.
It's all on all this diet fads. It's all about dieting, losing weight, and they're going about it completely the wrong way, in my opinion. All of these low fat products are actually really unhealthy for you, from the stuff they put in to compensate for the lack of fats and sugars.
Because fats, having, being cooking and being one of my main interests, and having worked in the trade as well, fat is flavour, whether it comes from animal fat or olive oil or butter or ghee or fat is flavour. I'm sorry, people.
Yeah, and animal fats are not.
In the British Army for 15 years, if this stuff was so good, they would have been feeding that to us because they wanted us at our peak fitness best. Well, they didn't give us that. They gave us loads of root vegetables, loads of meat, things, and loads of things that we talk about over the years that we've spoke. The natural products, that's what we had a lot of. And we ate a lot of it because we were burning a lot of it off.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Isn't army foods notoriously bad? It's meant to.
Do you know what? It's a lie. I think many of us say it as an in joke, but now looking back, I'd say some of the best food I had was in the army, actually.
Yeah,
and especially when you think that they're cooking for some of one of the biggest camps. It was a good 400 people, I think, on the camp. So they're really cooking for a lot of people. But no, they know how to put spices and stuff in to make it edible. It's nothing like prison food, or it's nothing like the jokes would have you. But it depends where you go. It depends what chef is in charge, of course. But no, I've had some really, really good food.
I've heard that as well. And my brother was in the army, so yeah, he used to rave about the food.
I remember hearing at some point when I was in that an army chef was the hardest course to pass because of the fact that you're feeding so many people, and the health and hygiene, and they have to know all the proteins and the starches and how much they're giving us, because again they want us to be at physical peak. So yeah, apparently it's one of the hardest courses to pass. And
I might add, and I'm not sure if this is you might be able to confirm this. If you get a bad meal, and you've had a hard day, right, running around, getting all muddy, dirty, knackered, what you want is a solid dinner, and if you don't get it, you're going to kick off, right, or not? Yeah,
let me just put it this way. You've got 300 angry, strong, feral monsters that are wanting feed. If you give them shite, yes, you're going to get... And I should watch what I say, actually, but yeah, people have been told that they're not cooking very well by some soldiers. I've seen it happen, yes.
Yeah.
I'm hiding it back, but yeah, the army is it's a very brutal place. But we the great thing is we police ourselves. That's the thing. That's why I think soldiers are great workers and great. We've learned to work in those environments where we police ourselves on everything, really.
Yeah, and to be responsible for yourself, and
responsibility comes into that. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and to keep yourself neat, tidy, etc., etc. And that's why it's so shameful how soldiers from the British Army are discarded after they've left the service. Some of whom are on the streets, for shame.
Yeah.
It's where I ended up it's first place I ended up when I came back. Very, very briefly, because I don't ever want to be this woe story, but I was told by my sergeant, when you leave the army, each year you've been in the army, classes as a year on the council list. So what you do is you go to your local council and you say, hi, I'm 250, I'm such and such, Courtford. I was in the army for 15 years. Can I have a flat? And as funny as that might seem to anyone else, I truly believe that, because everything I was told in the army was for fact, because that's what we lived for. So I came out and I literally did that. I went to Portsmouth, went to the local sort of office, went in, said my piece, and they sort of laughed at me. And cut a long story short, the police actually had to remove me from the building, because I was there in my honest opinion, I was being denied what was rightfully mine. I was supposed to come out and supposed to get a flat. I got turfed out of that place, and that's pretty much how I ended up on the streets, because I'd never had to fend for myself in this concrete world. I was used to the grass world that I came from, but this concrete world where you had to pay bills, you had to look for a flat, you had to look for a job. And another ironic thing was, because I had nowhere to live, I couldn't get a job. And because I've been in Germany for 15 years, I had no credit rating. So I had to lie. I had to borrow a suit and pretend to be a yuppie. And, the stories I could tell you. But anyway, yeah, it's really, really fucking terrible the way they treat us. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think we know it. We know that. Yeah. Yeah.
We know it because we're all being treated the same. That's that's why it's not a woe is me, where everyone is feeling, no matter what your background is, no matter what you're doing. Life in the last 20 years has got so stressful.
Yeah. Yep.
It's like you're in your job, Viv. You become more of a sort of an agony aunt or a counsellor, because. And I've said to you before, you know, those people that are shouting you, they're not shouting at you, and you know they're not. But
No.
it's so upsetting to know where we all are. They're just one argument away from topping themselves. Some people, I've been there myself. So
yeah, I know. We've had people on, and this suddenly an alert goes up, and there's someone threatening suicide. Serious?
Really?
Yeah. Maybe
So
they're doing it for attention. We don't know. We don't care. If someone's saying, "I'm so upset, I'm going to top myself," then we go into action immediate.
Well, even if it's for effect, it's still a very sorry state, because anyone that's got to that stage still needs some help. Again, someone who suffers with mental health myself, I realise that it looks very silly to someone else when someone is just shouting and screaming and losing their temper. But what goes on in that poor person's head at that moment is that they're having a mini breakdown. It's tragic, really.
Yeah. I was saying to Bronze earlier before we went on, we went live. I don't know. We're told in this country, we got all the support you need. There's posters and adverts and all sorts of things. Talk to someone. But it's not really like that. It's not like that. You know, you are alone. The poor fella who's trying to make a claim, and he's in a locked ward. He's been sectioned. He tried to kill himself. And he's got no friends, really. He's got one friend who appears to be an alcoholic, who's drunk all the time online when he phones. There's nothing we can do. We're not social workers, you know. But your heart goes out to them. You think, well, what the hell can we do about this? You know, your claim is disallowed anyway. He doesn't understand. He doesn't get it. Because he's manic depressive. He's bipolar. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing you can do, and the reality is, I think, is that the support that they really need, where they should be turning to get help, just isn't there. The quality of assistance, the whole framework of it is just a mess. So, like you say, all of these kind of publicity, like talk to someone, if you need help, call this number. It doesn't really, it's not all that they're making it out to be at all. I mean, I've had a friend who's been through all of that for years, and it's just heartbreaking that you just get shunted from pillar to post and nobody's really there to help you.
It may help. It may help some people, but, well, I don't know. I don't quite know. I mean, I do know that there is a mental health crisis in this country, which has been exacerbated by the extremist government, the coup of 2020, when they pretended that flu was a deadly, well, you know, it was a zombie apocalypse. This drove people round the bend, you know.
We've yet to still fully see the repercussions of all the children who were denied the normality of being kids, school and learning and hanging out with your kids. That's still that's all, you know, that's still to develop, the real repercussions of all of that as well.
Yeah.
And when you look on the mainstream media, oh, everything's fine. Yeah. Well, apart from the catastrophizing, I mean,
Well, I think people are also learning how schooling has corrupted the children, because, again, they'd made parents so busy that you didn't have time. It's no one's fault. It was that you didn't have time to be finding out every lesson and what the children were getting taught. I mean, who has time to do that? But now slowly we're finding out the books that were put into the libraries and the conversations they were having with the children. It's
Well, they don't want children, they don't want the parents to really know what their children are being taught either. You know, your children are being told by their teachers that they don't have to discuss certain things with their parents as well. All of this gender madness as well. That is, they're trying to sort of isolate that. They're trying to isolate their children from their parents on certain very important subjects.
Well, talking about, you know, again, I think people were having this conversation 20 years ago, but the idea of sex education, where a stranger would be teaching my child about sex, I find it repulsive. Parents find it difficult because it's such a private conversation. So even the parent that has to have the birds and bees conversation with their child finds it difficult. I find it absolutely repulsive that strangers are talking to prepubescents about sex. That's not right.
Well, this is typically the state trying to wanting to become the parents. State wanting to take over the role of parents, take it away from the parents. It's the nanny state on steroids again.
And they want homeschool children in school. They hate homeschoolers because they're not really being exposed to what is essentially propaganda and brainwashing. I mean, when you consider, imagine you're a white working class boy who's being told but through someone who's been reading up on critical race theory, that you're the source of all the ills. You know, that you should be ashamed of yourself, ashamed of your country. And you're a little 11-year-old boy. What's that going to do to your head? It's going to mess you up, isn't it?
Of course.
When I grew up, it was all about how brilliant we were and how, it's so different now. So different.
Yeah. We never had sex education when we were at school. I never had sex education at school. That just wasn't a thing at all at school. It was like
no, we didn't have it.
You had to find that out for yourself, and that was
I don't know about you, but I found out really quickly what excited me and what didn't excite me, and where to put it and where not to put it. I worked out without anyone telling me.
Yeah,
we managed all right. So yeah, eventually.
True story. Like, but I think my parents were very. They weren't open people, shall we say? And my sex education was. I remember my dad threw I think it was called The Joy of Sex back then, and he threw that book at me. He said, "Right, read that. That's what you need to know for the next part of your life." And kind of walked out of my bedroom, and I kind of looked at this book, and I just remember seeing this hairy, naked couple. And then I got to the bit where the child was. I don't know if either of you remember this book, but they show you the childbirth, and I just remember being absolutely grossed out and not really understanding why my dad said that I had to get ready for this for the next part of my life. But it kind of put me off sex for a while, I think.
Yeah, that was a famous book. It's written by Alex Comfort. I used to have a copy as well. I think a lot of kids were given a copy of that. And it's quite explicit as well with those line drawings. But I don't think it's especially harmful. I mean, they were hippies, weren't they? The couple. depicted in it, the line drawings, they were hairy hippies.
Yeah. No, I'm
it's,
not talking line drawings. Mine had pictures of people.
oh my God, it must have been a new one. Mine had sort of just basic line drawings, quite explicit, with hairy hippies going at it. And from today's perspective, it's actually quite quaint.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll just pop into the kitchen, gents. Carry on as you were.
Making your coffee, are you?
Yeah, I think I am. No, I'm going to get a bottle of. I've got some Czech Budvar lager. I'm going to get a bottle of that. I think. Just chill out a bit.
Yeah.
Shall we?
Go on.
Shall we have a subject change?
Yes. Yeah. Go on.
Well, I don't know. Do you happen to know at all if Pam Bondi has released the information she was going to release today on the Epstein files?
No, I don't. But it should be any time tonight because it was. We're 7 hours ahead. I would say any hour now it's going to happen. Actually.
So yeah, I doubt it'll be anything majorly. Bombshell like for not for the likes of us anyway, but it will be a start, I think.
Yes, I think that's what it'd be. It'd be a start. Will there be anything shocking? See, again, I suppose it depends the level of understanding. It's going to be a main event. Everyone's going to hear about it. The likes of you, me, and Brondes. You are Brondes. Me, you, and Viv. We kind of think we know a lot that's been going on, but I suppose that's the point. It'll be slowly. You got to show these things slowly. Otherwise, you'd have a anarchy. You'd have or people killing themselves over stuff. So I suppose it's got to be slowly for a reason.
Yeah, I mean, her interview, was it yesterday or the day before, with Jesse Waters, and he was asking her about it, and she said yes, things will be released. But he actually, to his credit, asked her about the surveillance footage, and she didn't commit to that at all. She didn't really. She sort of swerved that one, and so that would be the real meat on the bone, if you like.
Because I just looked to see if any of that had came out. I hate to change the subject again, but I just saw a news flash for Gene Hackman's death deemed suspicious. So there's more to come for that as well.
Well, I saw a report on that earlier, and they were saying at the time that it wasn't suspicious, that it was probably carbon monoxide poisoning, because it was him, his wife, and his dog all found dead, and they're saying that they're not treating it as suspicious, and it quite possibly was carbon monoxide. But who knows? You never know.
Well, they're saying now that there's no trace of carbon monoxide or of gas leak, anything like that might have done away with them. I don't know. Honestly, don't know. There were pill bottles found, apparently, but they're old people, so maybe, I honestly don't know. Apparently the door was left open as well. But who knows? Who knows? This was the BBC I read, so I'm obviously that's not really it's the state mouthpiece, so we don't know. We don't know the truth of this.
Do you remember the old, was it the Sunday Sport, the old paper that was just nothing but rubbish news, but with a few boobs and stuff? That is basically what the BBC have become, haven't they? They're used to no one listens to them anymore.
Yeah. And so in terms of news, yeah. You won't get any boobs on the BBC. Well, except maybe for the presenters, but yes, the Epstein files. I think it does seem like they're deliberately slow playing it. It's going to be a bit here and a bit there and a bit here and a bit there. And Pam Bondi was saying that they have to be careful because they have to protect the identity of the victims as well. So they have to tread carefully with regards to that. And also, who knows what kind of that there may be already investigations ongoing behind the scenes that we're not aware of, and they have to be careful about not disrupting or derailing those by releasing certain information publicly.
Sure, yeah.
There was one other aspect as well I was just wondering about, and that's that. I mean, we know Ghislaine Maxwell. Her father, Robert Maxwell, was a Mossad agent. So there was obvious ties there, and Jeffrey Epstein is also reported to have maybe been an Israeli or a Mossad asset. And I'm kind of wondering if maybe there might be something going on with Israel involved with this, because there are quite a substantial amount of members of Congress and the Senate who do have dual US and Israeli citizenship. So it's just a thought I had. Maybe, I wonder if there's something in play there as well, maybe going on.
If you take basically the Epstein in the American pronunciation, that it was essentially compromat, and they were getting information, photographs, compromising material on the various people that passed through the island who fell for certain temptations, shall we say, then yes, of course. If that was the point of the whole exercise, if it wasn't just a hedonistic party scene.
No, not at all.
So yeah.
And I know it's more of the fringe kind of stuff, but I always like to bring back my thing about Q. But the Epstein Island and what was going on there was heavily covered on the Q files drops. Sorry. There were pictures of the apparent underground torture rooms. There was pictures of many children and dark things that I don't want to even say. But so, because I believe in that, all of that, I have to think that a lot of this is going to come out in slow time. But when you say what's going to come today with the Epstein files, today, again, we're hoping for famous names that we all know about, but most of them are going to be names none of us know about, so it won't be interesting to us. But these are wealthy business people that, for their circle of friends, it's going to have massive implications in the business world. People are going to be resigning. People are going to be committing suicide. People are going to get divorced, arrested. So even if whatever comes out today, no one bats an eyelid, there will be huge ramifications.
I'm just reading here. Apparently, Pam Bondi just ordered the FBI to deliver the full and complete Epstein files, which includes documents, audio, video, etc., to her desk by 8 a.m. tomorrow. And most of the people commentating on it seem to be going along the line, this is going to be phased. It's going to be released in bit by bit. So just for sort of D-class purposes, it'll be just so the public can digest it bit by bit and get the full, the full implications of it all.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. And then we've also got a few others. We've got P. Diddy. What's going on there? What was he up to? Who did he compromise?
His lawyer resigned and basically said, I cannot do this. I can't take this case. Effectively saying it's indefensible.
Yeah.
Didn't he use that word? Didn't he say it's indefensible?
He may have done. I don't know.
I think he actually used that word, which in the lawyer world is, basically, as you just he's saying that he's not innocent.
Yeah. Well, I think that's
he perhaps he shouldn't. That's a bit, what's it called, sub judice. You shouldn't try. That might prejudice the case, to be honest.
Unless that's why they've done it. Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, good point.
But I think they've said that P. Diddy is to the music industry as Jeffrey Epstein was to the business world. So there's a third arm of that. Who's the one for the movie arm of it?
Harvey Weinstein.
Everyone, yeah.
Oh, do you think he was the? Okay, yeah, cool, fair enough. Yeah,
Potentially.
Yeah, I don't know if he was the actual the linchpin, if you like, but he was definitely involved in all of that horrific stuff.
Leonardo DiCaprio. There's been a lot of strange goings on with him, with yachts and Chinese businessmen, properties being taken off of him. Have you heard any of the stuff with that fella?
No.
Bits and pieces, but it just kind of comes along with the flow of all the other information out there. So it's
yeah.
I mean, I don't know what to make of it. A lot of this stuff is just celebrities on the mutter lines.
Yes,
you know, anything concrete. We want concrete stuff, don't we? Really, we don't want celebrity gossip and
yes,
you know.
Yeah, we want signal and not noise.
When I can't. Whenever the Epstein thing. What year was the Epstein stuff going on?
Well, it was several years, wasn't it? It was quite a few years it was going on. But he did get arrested, and then he got that was back. I don't know. Don't quote me. It was somewhere around 2012, I think. And then he effectively got let off. And then when was he actually arrested? And the last time when he got put in prison, I don't know. When was that? Was that during Trump's last term, between 2016 2020, something like that?
Whenever it was, there was a dubious black book that was leaked onto the internet that was out there for about a day, and then it disappeared. And a lot of us had got hold of it. Again, it was within the whole Q thing and the whole looking into stuff. And I remember seeing that there was a lot of names from Surrey, because the black book was just random names, addresses, and phone numbers, which very dangerous. But and there were. Surrey's a very rich part of. I think it's one of the richest parts in England, actually, and hell of a lot of business names were coming out of Surrey.
Belt. That's what we call it, isn't it? Surrey, the stockbroker belt.
Yes, yeah.
Epstein investigations began, and this is according to Wikipedia. In 2005. Police began investigating Epstein after a parent reported he had sexually abused her 14-year-old daughter. Federal officials identified 36 girls, some as young as 14 years, whom Epstein had allegedly sexually abused. Epstein pleaded guilty and was convicted in 2008 of procuring a child for prostitution. He was convicted of 2 crimes, in addition soliciting a prostitute. Which doesn't seem like they made a very thorough investigation there, does it? But
and also that was very covered up. Not many of the public ever knew about that. I think it was the next time he was arrested that it started.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. He was arrested again in 2019.
19, right?
Yeah.
When did he quote unquote die? Epstein didn't kill himself.
Yeah.
And when did he not kill himself?
He didn't kill himself. He was arrested July 6, 2019, according to Wikipedia, on federal charges for sex trafficking of minors. Died in his jail cell August 10, 2019, same year. Medical examiner ruled his death was a suicide by hanging, but Epstein's lawyers have disputed the ruling. And there's been significant public skepticism about the true cause of his death. Here we go now. Wait for it. Resulting in numerous conspiracy theories.
They love that word.
Yeah, they do. They love that.
I mean, again, anyone who thinks that was just he just committed suicide, I don't think anyone thinks that. It was such a ridiculous. I'd love to know what the heck was going on there and why it was so obviously a murder.
Since Epstein's death, Since Epstein's death precluded the possibility of pursuing criminal charges against him, a judge dismissed all criminal charges on August 29, 2019.
Yeah, and it's very, very telling that, as with so many of these high-profile situations, the CCTV cameras just happened not to be working at the time.
Yeah,
In a
well,
prison. Yeah. With a very, very rich prisoner, none of it adds up at all. I often say that about even the simplest of things, like prisoners getting drugs in prison. Unless the government were allowing it to happen, you couldn't. These prisons, you couldn't fly drugs in or get drugs in. It's because there's bent coppers. It's because it's all bent. The whole system.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's just everything is so corrupt now, and it's. I don't know how long it's been this corrupt, but it's just becoming more and more obvious, and they don't care anymore. Just don't care.
There's nothing much.
You know, it's been going on for so long. I think it's because they've got so blasé with getting away with it that now it's so obvious.
Yeah, the system is very much set up to protect them, and they know it. So even if something does come out, they'll know that. Here's a bit of an aside and a kind of a minor thing compared to what we've been talking about. Do you remember that Labour MP Mike Amesbury who punched that?
I was about
it's disgusting, isn't it? It's disgusting.
I was about to say that.
Yeah. He got his case came up and he got convicted of 10 weeks in prison. Yeah, but he appealed and now it's suspended. It's just ridiculous. It's so ridiculous.
And Peter Lynch died in prison for saying some slightly hurty words to some police officers.
We still haven't heard any more about that, have we? The Peter Lynch situation. What?
No, they've wanted that hushed up. He again. I don't even know anything about the man, but I'm pretty sure he didn't kill himself.
Yeah, there's so many people in prison
to say that either. I'm not. That's not a conspiracy. That's just me. That's my personal opinion. That's all that is.
And did you know Mike Amesbury, who's out of Labour, he's now an independent. He's still an MP. Do you know that?
Yeah. It's unbelievable, Viv. I know.
Yeah, these people should be immediate. You are banned from being anywhere near public office ever again for the rest of your life. Guy, I mean, he might have had a few drinks, but that's no excuse whatsoever. Punched the guy. The guy fell to the ground, and he kept on punching him when he was on the ground and shouting at him. The guy,
that's right.
He's out of control. He's deranged. It's disgusting. It's really disgusting.
He's not going to resign. Leaving. I'm reading BBC now for my sins. The state mouthpiece. At least, right. Leaving court, Amesbury refused to answer questions from the waiting media about whether he would resign as an MP, but he said, "I'd like to reiterate that I sincerely apologise once again to Mr. Fellows and his family." That's the bloke who beat up. Now, we need 10% of his constituents to back a recall petition if he isn't going to do the decent thing and be a man and say, "Look, I've messed up and I don't deserve to represent the good people," you know.
Yeah, maybe that will happen. I did hear something along those lines that there might be a recall petition, or that there were certainly calls for it. But also the victim, the guy who he hit, he should take legal action. He should sue him to hell with this.
Yeah.
He's going to get away with this. It's shocking.
As he hits Mr. Fellows in the head, punching him, knocking to the ground, then hits him at least 5 more times, he was then heard saying, "You won't threaten your MP again, will you?"
Yeah. Just the arrogance. Yeah, it's just the arrogance.
That's how they act to their constituents, to the good people of Runcorn and Downsby.
In a fantasistic world, so this is all just hypothetical. None of this is real, and I would not want this to happen in any which way. I just want to say that. But in this hypothetical way, if someone now approached him on the street and punched him to the ground in much the same manner, how would any court be able to give anything more than 10 weeks?
Because the courts are bent.
Yeah.
No, yeah. But so in this hypothetical world, if someone was to go out and do exactly the same to him in this hypothetical world, they would have that guy would have dug his own grave, because now if anyone does that to them, they're only going to spend 10 weeks in prison.
But they won't, though, because they're not an MP. Amesbury is above the law. Surely that's obvious now.
Again, it's obvious to us. I'm sort of throwing the the point I'm making is how ridiculous it is. If I go out and punch Viv, I would expect to get a lot more in the manner that he did it. If I would then stood over Viv and said, "You're not going to fucking do that again, are you?" and kept on kicking and punching him, I would expect to get more than 10 weeks. I'm merely pointing out the absolute hypocrisy of it.
I agree with you completely. Of course. We see this happen again and again.
Yeah, I just hope everyone can see it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if everyone can see it, but I can.
Well, they'll probably see it and then just move on and forget about it and move on to the next thing that catches the next shiny object that catches their eye. And these things will just, except for maybe the locals in the constituency, I don't know. Maybe even them maybe even the staunch Labour voters will still carry on voting for him. That's how tribal and stupid it is these days.
I think Labour is finished. I just honestly, I think much like the Conservatives are finished. This can't stand. They've not even been in power for a year, and it's surrounded by nonsense, by sleaze, Amesbury also lied in court. No, he lied in a police interview. I apologise. He said that he was terrified and the other man's arms were swinging. He had no option but to defend himself. But the CCTV pictures revealed a very different story.
Yeah.
And the judge said, in reality, you told the police a pack of lies, nothing more, nothing less.
Terrible, isn't it? Yeah. But
listen to this. Daniel Trevors, defending Amesbury, told the court, he's now had 3 nights in prison, which is an experience he will never forget.
Yeah,
yes,
right.
Yeah.
And the elephant in the room is once again Tommy Robinson.
Yeah.
Solitary confinement, is undergoing psychological torture for a civil offence. You couldn't make it up.
Yeah, or even, we can look at others. Julian Assange, that's mental. Julian Assange didn't even punch anyone.
No.
He wrote,
Hugh Edwards, another case in point. Didn't even, see the inside of a jail cell, did he? Not at all.
No.
And a lot of that was hidden up. Again, if you really look into that case, it's absolutely horrendous, the kinds of stuff he was found out to be doing and having.
Yeah.
It's and again we've got to pull this back up, because I can feel even myself getting depressed. But the thing is, it's only getting this bad because the truth is coming out. And I truly, as I've often said, I'm really behind this Q thing. I truly believe it's already the reason this is so bad and dark is because we're learning the truths, and I think it is all going to change over the next 4 years. In fact, I was thinking the other day that another Q thing was that there was 3 films to Trump's taking over. And I suddenly thought, I wonder if those 3 films were in reference to his 3 terms as president, in as much as he was in presidency in the first 4 years, then he was taken out and was a backstreet president, and now he's back in. And I wonder if those 3 times 4 years were the 3 films that Q was referencing. But either way, you can see things are coming to a head now.
So he didn't actually mention what films they were. He just referenced 3 films without naming them.
Let me pull it. Yeah, each film was given a name actually, which I'll pull up while we're. It was this idea that there was a trilogy of things to come.
Right.
How would I even search that on the Q drops?
There was that like the that meme of the cinema poster with the three.
Yes, it was a cinema poster with 3 films.
Yeah, I remember that.
There is an idea that Trump will after this term will seek another term, so that could be 3.
How would he do that though? How would that work? Because obviously 2 terms is the maximum that they're allowed.
I think they'll either have to change the rules, or that these are 2 consecutive terms. You know,
well,
so he hasn't served 2 consecutive terms.
The thing is, right, with all the exposure and the Doge and this, that, and the other, with the new catchphrase "waste, fraud, and abuse," which everyone seems to be using these days, that it's eventually it must come back to the election system in the USA, and how it was stolen from him in 2020. He's got to get to that eventually. Surely he can't just be doing all this and then not deal with that at some point as well. So I'm wondering if there is some legality there which says, well, he should have won in 2020 as well, so he's entitled to another 4 years because that was stolen from him. I don't know, but if he served 2016 to 2020 and he's serving now 2024 till 2028, that's 2 terms. And that's the law with regards to presidents, isn't it? That's the limit. So
is it consecutive though? I don't know.
Well, does that make a difference? So even if they are consecutive, you're only allowed to serve 2 terms, even if they are consecutive.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
So, no, he has mentioned that. He's sort of chucked that one out there, just to I don't know, probably just to whip up a bit of a frenzy, just speculating. Oh, maybe I'll serve a 3rd term, and he's not really elaborating.
So what we call in the UK a wind up.
Yes, absolutely.
And I must quickly apologise to any listeners that this has taken a bit of a dark turn, hasn't it? Our convo.
Oh, that's the way it goes.
Yeah.
Talk about these things.
I
we
know.
can't ignore the all the horrible stuff that's going on if it's worthy of talking about.
I know, and we're into free speech, so there you go.
Well, let me try and maybe raise the spirits just a touch. You were talking about books earlier. 4D, you talked about the book, and I saw a Groucho Marx quote, which I thought was quite funny, and it goes like this. He said, outside of a dog, books are man's best friend, because inside of a dog, it's too dark to read.
Nice.
Brilliant. I love a bit of Marx Brothers.
Marx was great. He was funny.
Yeah, it's great that everyone's Marxist now. There's a lot of Marxists around, isn't it? It's really good supporting the brothers.
A different type of Marxism there, I think you're talking about.
Oh, yeah, I see. Right.
Sorry, did I stump you with that one, Viv?
Yeah, well, One of the leads. Sorry, go on, mate.
No, I was just talking about the Marx Brothers, because they had this. They always in a lot of their films they had this leading lady, didn't they? And Groucho Marx apparently had quite an interesting relationship with her. He'd always be winding her up and taking the piss out of her, in actual sort of off screen as well as on screen. I can't remember her name. Margaret something or other was her name.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
I must post up that song as well. There's from Horse Feathers. That the lyrics go basically, They go, whatever you say, I reject it. Whatever you do, I reject it.
The way he tells them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they were truly anarchic, weren't they? The Marx Brothers. They really were. I mean, what a mess they! It's total chaos if they appeared.
Mm. Yeah, I think that was the whole point.
And
Fred,
another.
I'm not too versed in that, so.
Yeah, it's pretty old school stuff now. It's from the 1930s. I noticed the BBC are very interested. They're almost leading with this story. Gold 4.8 million toilet theft.
What?
What?
Yeah, there was a gold toilet stolen. Cost 4.8 million. Yeah, that's the state of the British media, isn't it? Eh?
Yeah.
If anyone's had a gold throne made, they deserve to have it stolen.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, too bloody right, idiots.
Yeah,
What a waste.
yeah, more money than sense, mate.
Ah, absolutely.
It's called America. It's an
What? The
art.
toilet?
It's an artwork. It's an
Oh, I
artwork.
see.
An
Oh,
artwork.
okay.
An artwork called America. Michael
Oh,
Jones,
right.
39. Yeah, Michael Jones, 39 from Oxford. Denies one account of burglary.
Oh.
And gold and silver is still on the rise. It's not dropped for 6 months.
Yeah, and Bitcoin's taken a dive as well, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
That's taken quite a big nosedive. That was edging close to about 100,000, and now it's dropped down to around 80. So I saw. But that'll pick up again. I think that's just the way it goes, isn't it? Bitcoin, it goes up and down like that.
Yeah, I think so. I know someone who's made a fortune. He's probably a millionaire by now.
Yeah.
Got into Bitcoin early. I'm a bit coin dubious about this now at this stage in the game. I don't want to just throw money away on Bitcoin. I'd rather buy silver or gold.
Yeah, it's a bit more. It's a safer bet for sure. And plus, Bitcoin is I don't know. I've never made the effort to get into it and understand it, so I don't understand it, and that's preventing me from getting into it as well. Who do you trust as well? There's so many scams around Bitcoin. It's difficult where to begin, really.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm going away because when it first came out, I knew a young guy. I knew him as Evo. I don't know what his full name was. He was Bulgarian. And he was a boyfriend of the girl that I knew, and he would talk to me about Bitcoin. I have, as you guys know, I'm not very good with computers anyway, but he was trying to explain to me what this Bitcoin was, and he told me the name of the guy that invented it, and he was at the time he was saying, you've got to get some. I promise you, it's going to be the next big thing, and you're going to make millions out of it. And if only I didn't, if only I'd understood what he was explaining to me, maybe I would have put some money into it. But I remember reading something about 2 months ago or so where if I'd put £10 into it back in when it first came out, I'd be worth 10 million or 100 million, I think it was now. And I wish I'd listened to him or understood what he was trying to tell me. And I bet he's a rich man now.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure my mate in Spain is as well. Anglo-Spanish geezer.
Right. So as the saying goes, you get Bitcoin at the price you deserve.
Yeah, exactly.
And like you say, my if you've got gold and silver or land, it's a tangible thing. I'd much rather have something I've actually got physically.
I know.
Yes, that's another aspect. I mean, Bitcoin it's not a real thing, essentially, is it? It's just a computer. It's something. It's zeros and ones on a computer once again. So that's a bit off-putting for me as well. Oh yeah, I'm with you. You want something tangible that you can hold in your hand, basically, or see or feel or touch.
Totally. And I think it was Naomi Wolf, or was it? I think Naomi Wolf's. Was it her? Anyway, don't quote me on that. Someone said that Bitcoin is in a sense, you could view it as the gateway to central bank digital currencies.
Yeah.
Well, yes,
So,
it's kind of in that ballpark, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
But also, it means that just owning a small I forgot the name of it, the thing that takes out computers. You only need to take out some computers, and you've lost all your money.
Yeah, but I think with the because it's on this thing called the blockchain where it's all decentralized, so it's not all in one. It's not all in one place, you know. So you might be able to take out one or two computers, but it wouldn't necessarily take out the whole thing.
You got to take out the server, innit?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Again, I don't really understand. Has any more come out about the Fort Knox thing?
Well, they were talking about doing the Fed as well, auditing the Fed. There's nothing more specifically about Fort Knox, but Trump did. I think Trump or Musk did mention that they were thinking of auditing the Fed as well.
With this Doge thing, I was watching them. Elon Musk was saying that they're going to give 80% of what they save back to pay off the debt, and the other 20% they're going to start giving out to the American public as a tax reward, if you will. And they were talking about sort of figures of 1,000 and 5,000 per person in America, which is a country of 350 million. So they're already saving a crap load of money.
I heard the amount that I heard was 15,000. And there is this
person.
Yes.
Wow.
Which just shows the amount that they're uncovering or saving, what have you. And there was this woman, this congresswoman, who suddenly appeared now, sort of out of nowhere, making statements. This woman called Jasmine Crockett, and she seems to be everywhere now. And she was making statements. She's a Democrat, and so she's obviously all against everything that Trump's doing. And she basically said, "So was it her, or was it? I might be one of the other crackpots." Saying, "Well, what is 15,000 going to do really for you?" Kind of, it's like, what planet are you on? You know, who wouldn't turn down 15,000? It's crazy. These people are crazy.
There was a CNN anchor, and he was saying he was interviewing one of the Doge people, and his comment was, "This is a ridiculous concept because we're still going to owe all that money. So even if you claw back lots of money and pay off the debt, it's not going to help the debt very much." And you think, if that's your argument as to why this is a bad idea, you've lost already.
Yeah, I mean, that's ridiculous. If you claw back this money and pay off the debt, we're still going to have the debt. What does that mean?
Yeah,
it just doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah, almost he was saying, no, we're better off wasting the money. It's better for us. I don't know what his argument was. That's the point.
A lot of people nowadays don't have arguments, do they? They just shout and they throw insults and
walk off.
And walk away. Yeah. I've just found out, as an aside, the artist responsible for the solid gold toilet, which was nicked from Blenheim Palace, is Maurizio Catalan. I was thinking, Maurizio Catalan, Italian artist. I suddenly remembered. He did the banana, didn't he? He did the banana. Comedian.
Banana. What are you on about?
It's a banana, an actual banana, yeah, a fresh banana, and it's exhibited in the gallery as a fresh banana affixed to the wall with duct tape. It comes with a certificate of authenticity and instructions for its proper display. And number 2 of the limited edition of 3 was sold, again, another link, to cryptocurrency entrepreneur Justin Sun for, get this, $6.2 million.
People are insane. They are just
He must be so talented, though, to be able to make that money out of that banana. Oh, it's so talented. I wish I had his talent.
Oh, my
This sort of thing has been going on for decades. I remember, when was it? Maybe back in the 1980s, somebody put on display in one of the art galleries just this collection of breeze blocks. And it was this art. It was just blocks of cement. It's like, here you go. This is art. And even back then at the time, I guess it was more shocking then because we weren't so acclimatized to this lunacy. And it was just like, what? And people were lauding it and taking it seriously as this is modern art. It's I don't know.
Wasn't it the messy bed that started it?
Oh, that's Tracy Emin. Yeah, Tracy Emin. She's a lunatic as well.
I was just going to say, when you look at them, you can see the crazy in them.
Yeah.
I didn't mind Tracy Emin's bed in a sense, but it's what gets me is the money that's paid for these things. I mean, I think as an art school project, and I've known a lot of artists and hung around artists and gone to art schools and all that, but it's the money. It's the money. Tracy Emin as well is not a very good drawer. She can't draw very well, I believe. She started doing drawings, and I don't think so. But the bed would have been. It's kind of anything like that. It's all right. Like putting a banana fixed with duct tape on the wall of a gallery is a bit of a satire, isn't it? It's a piss take, but not when it goes for $6.8 million.
I go to an art group once a week, and I see art getting thrown in the bin that is better than most of the stuff that I see that goes for over £1 million. In fact, the talent in the little art group that I go to is outstanding compared to those idiots.
Yeah, well, that's a key word, isn't it? Talent. I mean, you look at some of the classic works of art, the paintings and the sculptures, and that is really, really talented work. But sticking a banana on a wall or just making a bed and making it messy, it's just it's so degraded. It's so, the whole concept is just like the lowest common denominator, and these things should not be taken seriously. I mean, people can do things like that if they want and say it's art, but they shouldn't be taken seriously. They certainly shouldn't be put up in prestigious art galleries. No, for sure. And even more so, people should not be paying millions of pounds or dollars for them. I mean, the joke's on them as far as I'm concerned. It's like, okay, that's your loss, you idiot.
I know. Doing the banana thing would have been in the 70s would have been a stunt by outsider artists who wanted to take the piss out of the gallery system. But now it's gone mainstream, and the whole art world. I mean, my daughter is an artist as well. By the way, the brick thing was called Equivalent 8. It was by Carl Andre, and I've seen it actually. I've seen it in situ. Right. It's really, really boring. Really boring.
I think it's the art equivalent of that architectural style. Oh, the name escapes me. Brutalist, isn't it? It's the artwork equivalent of brutalist architecture, just concrete monstrosities.
Exactly.
Soulless monstrosities.
This started in, and I'm quoting. Don't quote. I'm not quoting. I'm thinking it was 1916, I think, that the artist Marcel Duchamp exhibited a urinal as a work of art, and since then it's gone on and on, where all the beauty has been removed from art. I mean, the geezer said, the urinal is beautiful. Well, maybe it is as a piece of industrial work, produced in a factory. But does it deserve to be an art gallery?
You can have a beautiful urinal, but within certain parameters, and those parameters are urinals.
Yeah.
You can have a beautiful urinal compared to other urinals, but that's as far as it goes.
In a public toilet, yeah. I mean, art and design have become mixed up. So essentially, you've got a urinal that is really a piece of design, and then now you look, and that's over 100 years ago, and now you look at modern artists like Damien Hirst, who's essentially a designer. All that the dot painting, it's design. It's not art, it's the sort of thing you put on a teacup, those little dots. It's quite pretty. It's all right, I suppose, as a design. As a work of art, don't know. Where's the beauty? Where's the uplift?
I had a dump this morning that would look good in one of their places.
Oh yeah, I mean, how long is it going to be before somebody produces that and puts it up in an art gallery? You could argue there's plenty of pieces which could be described as that, but
it's done. It's been done already. It's been done already. It goes for a lot of money. And again, another Italian artist canned his excrement. He produced it, but they're in tins, worth a lot of money now. Oh yeah.
I want to present the world with a pebble-dashed throne with the title "A Troubled Mind."
Man's inhumanity to man. I want to present the world's first invisible work of art.
That's not far off. Yeah,
and put it on a plinth in the National Gallery or. It's invisible. You can't see it, but trust me, it's there. And it's beautiful and it's stunning.
It's fabulous. I mean, they could do. I think I'm going to go. You know what? I'm going to get an Arts Council grant and do that for the 4th plinth in Trafalgar Square. The empty plinth. And I say, just leave it empty, because like art is all around us, darling, isn't it? It's all around us.
That 4th plinth is a disgrace. And whatever they keep changing it every few years, and every time they put something new up, it's just nonsense and rubbish and disgusting. And you got all these other statues of all these historical figures around Trafalgar Square, and then you've got this 4th plinth, and it just brings it's just terrible. So leaving it empty would actually be better than anything they've ever put on it.
Yeah. Someone's going to do it. You just know it.
Yeah, I'd welcome that, because I'm sure anything that was visible would not be pleasing.
Because I'm not entirely against modern art, modern architecture, if it's done well. I mean, there's someone here. There's a building here in this small town which is modernistic. It's designed by Norman Foster, who went on to do a lot of modernist architecture, but somehow it really works. What he's done is, it's a very stark office building for an insurance company that curves with the street. But the genius trick is he's done it in reflective brown glass, so that all the old buildings around it are reflected in it.
Okay.
So that it does work. Next time you're here, I'll take you to show it. I'll take you to have a look at it. All right.
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, for that.
But mostly it's like brutalism. It's the objectification of ugliness. It's not raising the spirit, is it? It's not raising your spirit. It's not. You come home from a grey day at work, back into your grey, bloody, brutalist, postmodern or modernist tower block. And it's Orwellian, isn't it? Eh? Or I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm an old geezer now. Huh. I felt like this. I felt like this for years.
What, old?
Yeah. Yeah.
What else has been going on around the world this week?
Yeah, we did have last weekend the German elections, which may be worth talking about. The CDU, the nominal centre-right Conservative Party, won it, and the AfD the kind of German equivalent to reform, came second. But there's a few points about this. The leader, Trump, came out, made a statement saying, "Yeah, this is great news. The Conservatives have won in Germany." I think that's just Trump kind of doing what Trump does. I don't think he necessarily thinks it's a good thing. I think he's just kind of putting it on ice to maybe be tackled at a later date. But the leader of the CDU is a guy called Friedrich Merz or Merz. I don't know, Fordy, you might be able to get the pronunciation on that right, being having lived in Germany. But that guy used to work for BlackRock to start with, so there's a strike against him. And the CDU is actually the party that Angela Merkel used to be the head of as well. So that doesn't bode well either. And I just think, because the ousted party was the SPD, which were kind of like the liberal sort of centre-left party. And I just think this is one cheek of the uniparty arse handing the baton over to the other cheek. And I can't really see, it just seems like it's going to be more of the same for Germany.
Scholz got a kicking.
Well, he was the chancellor, der Führer, up until then. So, but it's what was I going to say? Merz came out before the election and made a statement about borders, because Germany had recently closed their borders, so I hear, before the election, and he came out before the election and said, "Yes, we're going to make far-reaching changes to immigration and the border," kind of sounding quite positive, with regards to making proper changes there. And then after they won the election, he came out and said, "Oh, no one's talking about immigration," as if to say it wasn't wasn't a subject worthy of talking about. So it looks like he completely changed his tune there. And also, Germany have opened their borders again, apparently, since they won the election.
Of course they have. Of course they have. Immigration, they can't. There's nothing, there's nothing that can be done in Europe about your immigration with the current parties, because it's part of a key economic. It's part of their key economic structures. It's one of the main structures of making money. Everyone goes, "Oh, we're helping people." No. You're helping the state. You're helping the state.
And the people smugglers, the criminal people smuggling gangs as well. But they only got about 29% of the vote, and according to German the election system, a party, I think, has to get at least 30% to be able to form a government on their own. So they're going to be forced to make a coalition with one of the other parties. Yeah. And AFD, to all the other parties, they all hate AFD. They tried to ban them, for God's sake. So much for democracy, eh? So it looks extremely unlikely they're going to go into a coalition with AFD. So they'll probably form a coalition with one of the lesser parties. And it's just going to be business as usual for the Germans. They're just going to keep on suffering. There's going to be more criminal migrants attacking innocent men, women, and children in Germany. More people are going to die and suffer, and it's just going to carry on. So it's, the fact that it's a so-called conservative government really doesn't mean anything at all, as far as I'm concerned.
It's another uni party. They won't go into coalition with the AFD. It's probably going to be, if it's the SPD. Well, same old. Well, why? The SPD have just been kicked out. So what? They're going to go in with the SPD again? Really?
Well,
maybe they'll go.
Sorry, Karen. Sorry.
I'm just thinking maybe they'll go in with the Greens.
Well, that's what the SPD did previously. They had a coalition with the Greens.
I know.
The Greens are going to get back without having any real public support. So something also very interesting about this is that the voting map, the kind of the heat map of Germany of how people voted, and it essentially divided into people who voted for AfD and people who voted for the CDU. And it's almost a carbon copy of Germany before the Berlin Wall came down. You had East Germany, West Germany, and you had Berlin smack bang in the middle of East Germany. And the entirety of East Germany voted for AfD, and the entirety of West Germany voted for the CDU or someone else. So East Germans know their shit. They know what's going on, and they know the value of freedom, and they've experienced authoritarian communism, and they know what's going on. And and it's the West Germans who have never really experienced it. They go, no, it's fine, you know, nothing's happened. It's crazy.
What's been done to Germany is another tragedy, because I was out there for 15 years and I spent most of the 15 years out there, and it was a great country for many reasons. Like their doctors and nurses were brilliant. The trains, you could literally time your watch by the trains. They were so on time. Same with the buses. I've never been to a cleaner country. You didn't see fag butts on the floor. You didn't see dog mess, way before our country was cleaned up. And I was going to say, there's been an influx of young girls making YouTubes and TikToks and whatever you call all these things that they do, saying how they're scared to go outside. The rape culture has got so tragic. As I've often thought about this country, I think we're teetering on sort of civil war if things don't go right. And I think they're even closer to it. Listening to you two saying about that, who's going to have to team up with who government was. I think in Germany, it's got to the point it doesn't matter who's in. I think the people are really on the edge out there at the moment.
Yeah.
I was quite surprised that the CDU got so many votes. I thought the AfD would push them a bit harder, to be honest with you. Obviously not. They still need a bit more waking up.
Yeah, it's as I said, it's like 10 times more difficult for the Germans, because they're always going to have that past and that person, and if you're even slightly close to what that person represented, they're going to force you out. And the irony is, let's just say the word, sorry, they're the least Nazi group in the whole lot of them, but they still get that title given to them so that no one will vote for them. And whereas they do the same over here with far right, in Germany, what they're saying holds so much more weight, unfortunately.
Yeah. I know.
And it's irrepressible in a way. Everywhere you look, especially in the mainstream, any reporting on the AfD, you'd almost think their name is the far right AfD, because that is how they are always mentioned in any reporting, the far right AfD. It's just, oh geez, give it a break, will you? But it's intensive propaganda. There's no two ways about it. It's just what it is. Just keep drilling it in. People may not even think, oh, they're not far right, but they just continue to put it out, continue, and it gets through to some people. They do start.
Yeah, people don't understand what the term far right actually means, though. And if you asked people, they would give, depending on who you're asking, of course, they would say, oh, far right. They'd come up with a number of things, but it's actually very hard to define. What far right actually means is working class. The far right.
The connotations.
It's a code.
The connotations.
Sorry.
The connotations of the term far right are usually follow as being racist, Nazi, fascist, bigoted, just a generally no good person at all. It's a complete.
Why does that come down to working class, though?
Because the supporters of what so-called working of far right parties, so-called, tend to be predominantly working class, and the working class are hated. They're hated in Europe. They're particularly hated in the UK. They have been for centuries.
So what you're saying is that
it's a dog whistle. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, far right saying anyone that represents them then just gets called far right just to get rid of them.
That's right.
Right. It's programming. It's just programming. It's brainwashing, essentially.
That's right. It's like you could call I don't know. Does anyone call in Germany Die Linke? Do they call them far left? I mean, they're pretty left wing, but I think they're the third or fourth party. They're a left wing party. Are they called far left? I don't know.
No, because
But no.
because
Please note that far left doesn't have the same connotations as
well, it
far
doesn't.
right.
I mean,
and also it doesn't exist because the pendulum has swung so far left. There is no such thing as far left anymore.
Well, I mean, a good case in point in that is how you could talk about maybe communism being far left and fascism being far right, which I don't think fascism is, but that's the way it's portrayed. And in our society, fascism is an absolute taboo. No. Communism, oh, that's okay. People can say they're a communist. You have a communist party. You don't have a fascist party, do you? But communist party, yeah, that's all right. So one is acceptable and one isn't. And it's because it's all of the establishment and the media are on that side. So the linker will be that they're okay. They don't want to besmirch them or smear them or talk them down like they do want to do to the AfD or anything on they consider to the right of their position. So
yes.
that's why Die Linke get away with it.
But
don't get the same scrutiny.
But what I'm saying is really this term far right is applied indiscriminately, much like terms, in a sense, conservatives will often use the term communist, but it's not necessarily communist. I mean, the globalist assault on countries is not necessarily communist when you've got stakeholder capitalists like BlackRock and Vanguard and Soros, people like that involved. So it's not, again, we have a problem with definitions here, and definitions being used as dog whistles or how can I put this? Essentially as insults. I mean, I've often thought the word Nazi and the word fascism are used as insults, as swear words, as curse words, as the Americans would say. It's because of their onomatopoeia. Fascist sounds like it's got a reminiscent of shit.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm gonna press the air horn because we've been going on for over 2 hours now, gentlemen, and I think we ought to possibly round it up a little bit.
Oh, sure, yeah. Oh, time. Yeah. Okay.
I love that I've now found those little sound effects.
Oh, you found the soundboard, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a child. I love anything like that.
Yeah. So let's wrap it up there then.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't mean to sort of put it onto an immediate stop, but I just looked at the recording. It's been going over for 2 hours, so I thought. Yeah.
I just want to finish by saying that the words are spells. We know this, and they're also propaganda, and they're applied in that sense, particularly by the media. So flinging around far right how long can you keep on doing that before people start to think, hang on, am I far right? I believe in certain. I believe in certain things like democracy or whatever. Does that make me far right? What does that mean?
Yeah.
I keep on flinging around those terms as long as they think they're effective and useful. As long as the people don't start to actually kind of stand up and push back against it, they'll keep on doing it. I think that's it's worked thus far.
There are actual far right parties or organisations, rather, should I say, in our great ally Ukraine.
Okay, well, let's not get into that right now.
No. Enough said.
Yeah.
Okay. No, another great chat. That's the thing that I think I get so into the chat that I forget how long we go on for it because it is all interesting and worth talking about.
Yeah, I lost track of the time, but that's all right.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, then, gentlemen, have a good week, and I'll speak to you during the week, but we'll be back to this same time next week.
Aye.
Yep.
Aye. All right,
Okay.
mateys. All the
See you next
best.
time.
All the best.
Bye.
Yeah.